Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Wednesday, the 29th of June, comes to you from London. And we start today by looking at a really interesting chart, which I'll be posting on LinkedIn shortly. And it basically overlays gas forward prices on the gas price itself. So this is made possible from the data from OTC Global Holdings, and it's really great to be able to do this. So this chart here is the price chart for TTF, and in this case it's coming from Refinitiv Icon, could be coming from Bloomberg, Tradeport, anywhere, and the curve data is coming from OTC Global Holdings. So really great that you can mix and match data, and that's one of the great powers of Updata, of course, is that you can run multiple data services, and I run lots of different data services into Updata, and you can configure from dozens of different services. So really great. So here we see the price of TTF, and of course it's gone through over the last several years these really big spikes, and this is the forward curve. The green one is today's curve, and you can watch these curves change each day, of course. The curve 30 days ago is the blue curve, and the curve 3 months ago is the red curve. So when gas prices were really spiking, you had to pay a lot for forward gas for 2022 and 23. It calms down again, of course, in 24, 25, and by the time you get out into the late 20s, it's all back to sort of roughly where we were. But gas prices, even then, you'll be paying double what you would have been if you bought a year or two ago. And the really key thing is, we were telling clients 2 years ago on the technical analysis that we were getting these breakouts, this break to a new high. We gave massive upside targets to gas, and this was the time to really be buying forward your next few years. And of course, we will be helping clients navigate. If you're buying gas or power, purchasing gas or power for your procurement, we will be helping clients navigate this as to whether you want to be buying forward or not. And of course, if you'd bought 3 months ago, you'd be really paying such a massive price. And so what should you do now? We're seeing the curve now with gas prices inflated, and it really just depends where you're buying on the curve. But the really key thing is that buying forward for the long term really does work, and that's a really key thing. So here we see the curve 30 days ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and so 6 months ago it felt like you were paying a lot of money for gas, but of course you were getting gas then at around 33 euros. Now you're looking at 86 euros. So the difference just buying 6 months ago for next year was absolutely massive. And the same thing just applies when you look back a year or 2 years ago. So it's really worth this process of just looking at, and it is worth remembering that the forward price is not necessarily where the price will be. It's just what people are prepared to pay for the future now. So looking at the energy mix, we'll start by looking at Brent crude. This is my daily and my 60-minute chart. Both charts are bullish above the cloud here. Lots of upside targets on Brent crude. And when I go to my price targets for today, we see lots of green targets there. And that's really quite key. Seeing the dollar making new highs. And we've got new 90-bar highs for emissions, for example, and targets for US nat gas emissions. All these targets popping through on your news feed, fed by either your Bloomberg, your Icon, your Tradeport, whatever you're running into Updata, will give you these alerts from those services. So really powerful. So Brent crude is looking bullish. We've gone bullish out to clients. We've been bullish the last few days. US nat gas has turned bullish. We're back above the cloud here. Upside targets are looking better there. Coal sitting at 248, fairly static there. And emissions, the really big story here on emissions is that we did break out of this congestion zone that we've been talking about, and that's put us into bullish mode. Watch your 1 minute charts now on emissions. That's going to be really key. And if you look at this target of 88 was given on the 23rd of June, 88.50. That was given when the price was at 84. That's where we are now. You cannot ignore these price targets. So looking at gas prices this morning, we were neutral, very hardcore. We're seeing TTF is below the cloud on the daily, above the cloud on the 60 minutes. A bit of a conflict there in the trends. We do have this little upside target, so that's looking a bit better for today. But if we look at MBP, we're actually below the cloud on the 60 minutes, so a different picture there. German pound just surging ahead. Of course, we gave the target way back in February for in the 260s when we were back at 216. We've got a bigger target still. Keep an eye on these price targets. Lots of new little targets coming in. And of course, on your OTC prices, you'll see the data there. Looking to the macro, first of all, we look at the US dollar. Sitting strong this morning, so looking better here, back above the cloud on all three time frames. It's my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute, my long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the markets with the corresponding point and figure targets. So the dollar is looking strong again. Euro is therefore looking a bit weaker, and we're seeing that as well. Sterling actually now just coming off against that stronger dollar as well. So the dollar is absolutely key there. And against the euro, sterling sitting at 116. So just looking a little bit better, but still bearish on those medium and short-term charts. Bitcoin just at the $20,000 mark, just struggling to hold there. So that's quite key. And if we look at the S&P 500 index, it fell away at the end of yesterday's trading. Remembering that we're inherently bearish. We're below the cloud here on the medium-term chart. We've got downside targets. We are breaking below the cloud on the price. Interesting that the market opened up but just couldn't hold those gains, and the futures are flat today, so no bounce, and the VIX volatility sitting at 28, the high 20s. The fear index is back into just moving above the clouds there. Looking at the FTSE future, we're down 0.2% this morning. The DAX in Germany is down 1.2%, so market sentiment is bearish. We're seeing here a sea of red in Asia. Japan was down, Hang Seng was down. We're really seeing falls across the board. India down 0.6%. Just a lot of these markets rolling over, even the Aussie market down 0.8%. Looking at some of the soft commodities, we've got wheat looking just a little bit weaker there. This morning actually up 1.7%, so just gaining some strength there. Gold sitting at 1821. You'd think gold would be moving in this inflationary environment, but we're just seeing it's taking longer for the trends to play. Watch for this $1,800 level on gold. That needs to hold. Palladium, the really big beneficiary of this Russian ban, just looking a bit stronger there, short-term bullish above the cloud. And US 10-year yields falling back to 1.13%, so just teetering here. Are we going higher? Are we going to see the Fed just losing their resolve with growth fears? Lots of things playing out in the markets, but most of all, we're seeing mostly red on the screen this morning. Keep an eye on those targets and watch your news alerts. When you see these news alerts coming in red, you know that we're seeing more and more bearish signals ticking in. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.